Oh, cool, my dudes. Let's wrap this up. I'm gonna try to play this, but I'm gonna let Philip K. Dick talk more so that I don't interrupt him as much, so we can make a, a proper, idea conjecture which I can react to. Some quick clarifications I did forget to mention in the comment or chat section, where I mentioned the nines, where I say like I'm a quote unquote nine. I mean, look, a five is a human. A six is someone who is awake, who can see. What I have done is I've raised you from a 6 to a 7. A 6, the test of a 6 is to, to go past the graduated animal farms where you're stuck upon a wheel. Like, this is what we call the graduated animal farms, the traps, the gloom and doom, the fear porn, sky is falling, the truther community. I mean, I've raised you up to a quote-unquote 7. And the test of a 7 is the expansion awareness of consciousness, raising your mind perspective of not just focusing on the limited reality of your mortal coil right now. Like, that's why quote unquote remembering dreams is important, astral traveling is important, so you have an awareness of the other worlds, other realms, to jump laterally if you want. And then once you go from, once you do that, where you can quote-unquote astral travel, you're aware of your other versions of you, and you can resync back up together with the other versionings of you, like in Rick and Morty, then you reach an 8. And the goal, the test of an 8, is whether or not you can break the shackle of time. So breaking the shackle of time is not being trapped in the Ouroboros, snake wheel, the Chinese finger trap of time itself. It's the merging of the hemispheres. Like, I've talked about this idea of pink sky to time manipulation, whatever. Like this idea of an observer effect. Because once you break time, then you can enter the now state. That's the point of an 8. And once you do that, your awareness is like all it's like omni whatever. It's hard to explain. And then once you break I mean, look, I've talked about this before also, with the case of Robin Monroe, of the blank IA document, how to break the shackle of time, whatever. I mean, this is necessary so you can go into the magical etheric body state, the separation of you from your earthly, prison. That is your avatar meat suit, whatever. Okay, then once you do that, then you reach the state of a 9, right? And when you reach the state of a 9, then the challenge itself is the navigation through Disney realm. All right, whether or not you can leave the park of Disney realm without getting accosted by Mickey Mouse, right? I mean, that has its own set of challenges, but I haven't really talked about that yet, just because that's more part of the Disney realm presentation, which is later. And I don't think people are really at the 9 state yet anyways. People are just at the 7 state, and then now they're trying to get to the state where they have to pass through the test of the 8. I mean, whatever, I'll talk about this later when I cover the 9, so to me it's not that big of a deal. Whatever, cool. Alright, so I'm going to start this right away.
Evidently, some syntheses fall to the dark counterplayer, and yet they do not, by virtue of the fact that in advance our great advocate selected variables, the alternation of which brings final victory to him. In winning each sequence in turn, he claims some of us, we who participate in the sequence.
Okay, so the variable participation, he claims some of us who quote unquote win the game of this round. This is like a great test. The first test is whether or not you can see, and then once you pass that test, you then get to play the game of Dharma. So this is part of the game. I mean, really, it is part of the game. And every astrological age, there is a game, there's a theme, there is a goal to win. The previous age would have been, well, technically the previous age is the age of Pisces, because we're cycling to the age of Aquarius. So Pisces would have been the overcoming of the group mind, the herd mind, the hive mind, of institutions, religion, whatever. The one before that would have been, the age of I mean, yeah, that would have been like the age of the heroes, of will to action. Then before that, I mean, it's whatever. It's literally just the God, it's literally just the astrological wheel. I mean, I've shown this 1,000 times. Hold up. Okay, so let's see. We're gonna look at this game thing that God plays, and it sets the devil as the game master to mess with you. I mean, this is part of the test. Okay, so this is Pisces. This is institutionalized religion, education. This is hegemonic herd hive mind. If you can think outside of the herd, then you pretty much win, and you can pursue your quote-unquote soul's journey. Okay, then what is this one? Yeah, this would have been Aries. This would have been the age of heroes. This is will to action. All right, whatever. Then before that would have been like Leo. So yeah, would that be Leo? I mean, no, that's Taurus. Why is that goddamn? Okay, yeah. Then Taurus would have been like during the Baal time. This would have been where everything was like brilliant, golden. That's like a more material world. Then before that was Gemini. Let's see, what would Gemini be? Gemini would be, which one is that? Gemini, Buddha. Yeah, that would be Buddha. Okay, whatever. Look, I mean, you get the idea, okay? Each astrological age has a theme of the video game, and that's part of the universal rule for the test, all right? Cancer would, I mean, this should be an electric chicken, whatever. That would be the Thunderbird. I mean, whatever, okay. I gotta stop getting distracted. So, I mean, that's more of the game of Dharma stuff, so there's no point of talking about that right now. But that's just to illustrate to you that in every age, there's a theme to the game being played. I mean, we're into the age of Aquarius, so that's imaginations, dreams, wishes, friends. So that's a hyper-individualized, your personal reality bubble. I mean, that's like the Ready Player One scenario, or Cyberpunk 2077 scenario.
This is why instinctively people pray Libera me Domine, which decodes to mean extricate me, programmer.
Extricate me, programmer. I mean, this is what I talk about. I call it the what is it? I call it my three things. It's what is it? Purification of the spirit, actualization of the spirit, liberation of the spirit. I mean, while the referenced it before with Jesus being crucified in Calvary being the skull, whatever, it was the liberation of his spirit from his mortal coil prison, his body. So I mean, this is another thing, even in Christian thought. I mean, it's in pretty much all religions. It's not just to Christianity. I mean, I'm only talking about Christianity because this presentation is heavily focused on Christianity. And then people already know that I recommended the book Jesus and the Lost Goddess. That's more of Gnostic original Christianity thinking.
As you achieve one victory after another, include me in that triumph. Move me along the lateral axis so that I am not left out.
Yeah, so this goes back to PKD's thinking. His thinking is that there's always the game being played. I mean, this is portrayed in cartoons also. Like, you see God and the devil playing a game of chess, like in Family Guy. I mean, you see this in a goddamn TV show Lost. Like the man in black versus the man in white. They're playing a chess game over this. I mean, it's portrayed everywhere. But PKD's thinking is very simple. There's always a question being asked. Are you gonna go through the path of, the spiritual path or the material path? Spiritual path or material path? Are you going to side with God, or are you going to side with the devil? Like, this is just how the game works. This goes back to Zoroaster, the battle between the light and the darkness. This is a shifting of, polarity through the sine wave, and where your spirit can either, ascend or descend. It's a stabilization factor. Right now at the moment, because of the yin-yang cycling system through the Milky Way galaxy, the darkness is pervasive, because we're in a material golden age, spiritual dark age. I mean, that's why when I talk about the golden age, it was a spiritual golden age, and then material whatever. I mean, this is a natural part of the cycling of the system. The system is perfect in its trap, the trap of duality, life-death cycle. Like good and evil. This is part of the game too.
Sense as being left out means nothing other than remaining under the jurisdiction of or falling prey to the malignant power. But that malignant power, for all its guile, has already lost even as it wins. For in some way the counterplayer is blind, and so the programmer-reprogrammer possesses an advantage.
Oh, this is not necessarily true. I mean, in fact, it's actually the opposite. Really, I mean, he's only saying this because he came out of a different time where things were looking on the up and up because of the cycling system where the good guys were quote-unquote winning. If you're right now listening to me in 2021, you know that the bad guys are winning by a mile. He's saying that that the counter player is blind. Last time I checked, the devil has all the advantages in the material world, and you know, and even in terms of this idea that what you call God is really the unconsciousness. It is the formation, transcendent aspect of you. You're a fractal part of it. So its actions within the system is really dependent on you going back to your transcendent form as a fractal part of God to activate, you know, your quote-unquote kingdom of heaven within, being touched by Jesus Christ, finding God within. If you are trying to find the external God where you pray to God for whatever, I mean, chances are you're praying to the goddamn demiurge, which is the devil. Really, you're supposed to find power within to be brave and face your problems. And then through that power, then you can use that and wield that as your guiding light, your resonance to go forward in the game. I mean, this is the will to power problem. Like, are you gonna take responsibility, or are you just gonna ask the universe for something? And you gotta be careful asking the universe for something, because the universe often gives you, you know, what you want, but not what you need. So that's a big problem. Like, this is a rule wish of the genie. But him saying that, you know, the counterparty is blind and God isn't, it's really the other way around from our point of view. If we're in a spiritual realm of a higher proper realm, or the real realm, then it's not. But when you came into this game, you agreed to certain rules, like the amnesia thing, the angels of oblivion thing, all right? Your restriction, your perspective awareness to settings default to one, you know, avatar. That's part of the game. So even your human awareness, your attachment to your avatar, I mean, that is also part of it.
I submit to you that such alterations, the creation or selection of such so-called alternative presence, is continually taking place. The very fact that we can conceptually deal with this notion, that is, entertain it as an idea, is the first step in discerning such processes themselves.
Yeah, some of the alterations of the lateralization of parallel reality between choices, or minute differences in, you know, things like a dash and a Kit Kat bar, Coke Zero. It can also, then it translates into bigger events. Like, what if Blind 11 never happened? All right, what if the Voldemort disease thing that they did in, you know, 2019, 2020, it was another dry run, and we went through 2020 with no distraction and got through the Saturn conjunction as a normal cycle. I mean, what if that happened instead? This is alterations of lateralizations of possibilities of different worlds. But if you think about it, and you can actualize that reality through your imagination, or like throwing your perspective out, then you can step into that reality and wonder where your soul's journey would be. Like, I always tell you that the darker the timeline, the easier it is to hit S rank spiritually in this video game. Like, in the golden age, your soul awareness would have like ranked out at rank C. But if you're playing nightmare difficulty in a spiritual dark age where almost no one makes it, the people who are going to make it are going to be the best of the best. Like this is why we get the allegory of the diamond, turning carbon, earth, into pure diamond, which reflects the brilliance of the the rainbow light. I mean, that's why diamonds are valued. I mean, the Matrix has to put it out there. It's really worthless stone, but that's not the point. It's an allegory.
But I doubt if we will ever be able in any real fashion to demonstrate the scientifically prove that such lateral change processes do occur.
Yeah, it's impossible. All right, you cannot prove or disprove the Dash and the Kit Kat, right? Or prove or disprove an all-gold robot in Star Wars, all right? Or prove or disprove Berenstain Bears. Berenstain Bears? I mean, the general rule of thumb is that, Matt's right about this. It is a lesser creation of reality. Grammatical problems which indicate a degradation of the, quote, the realm, the game, the program, the simulation is breaking down. It's breaking down for a lot of reasons. Look like they want to branch out and take powers or knowledge from different realms of reality, causing quantum pollution. This is the fringe scenario where our world is the world that's taking quantum pollution, energy worlds, or info from other worlds to gain power. Our world is really the dark side world. So, and that's why if you look at how people act these days, or they're like cell phone NPC zombies or taking the download, it's pretty. If you really think about it, it's actually quite horrific. So, I think it's funny. So.
Probably all we would have to go on would be vestiges of memory, fleeting impressions, dreams, nebulous intuitions that somehow things have been...
Yes, yeah, bleeding memories. Okay, Mandela effect. That's a great one. Like our community, that's a great one. Nebulous dreams, impressions, this is what we call the resonance tuning fork. You just have a feeling, you can't explain it. This is great.
Different in some way, and not long ago, but now.
Yeah, another great one's the sun, right? I remember the sun being yellow, or it was a warm yellow sun. Now it's like this kind of computeristic white blinding sun. You could also explain it as the natural cycles of the sun, which the elites are aware of, and then it seems more obvious that the sun cycling doesn't take millions of years to go blot out. It seems as if the cycling is much, much, much shorter. And then that's why we're entering a cooling age with all this weird, wacky weather. They're not just controlling the weather, it's the sun that controls the weather. So maybe our simulation is already at a stage point where the sun is shifting out, and the sun is the indicator of the doomsday clock of how much time we have left. And if you're not aware, the doomsday clock that they put out, remember, it's like, of 10 minutes to midnight for the doomsday clock during the nuclear war. And then why is it that we are like 2 minutes to the doomsday clock scenario? And then it seems like nothing's really happened. It seems like that's a phony, misguided, fear delusion put out by the system. But there's something to it. It's basically like the elites are aware of the natural cycles, whether it be the sun, the cosmic energy rays, or the shifting reality based on atomic cycles of the sine wave of the computer simulation itself. The families that carry on this knowledge, they carry it on through spiritual means, like their ability to remember previous or lateral lives, different simulations at the same time. They can jump simulated lives, jump incarnation through children, or quote-unquote human cloning, or transference of consciousness, or the ability to choose your incarnation at will. You got to be aware. I got to say this for clarification purposes. And the truth community is completely 100% delusional about the secret societies, or they're a certain kind of incarnation. They're trapped here. Oh, look at us. We're the winners. That they can't have relief. Look, there's a pathway for them. The pathway for the dark ascension. Right? How do you think they get paid? They get paid in loosh, and the rewards is certain rituals that can guarantee them certain incarnation experiences in another quote-unquote world, or the continuation of this one. This is a farm, all right? There's something wrong with the truth community, the solipsism, thinking that they're the good guys, and thinking that they're not they're just puppets. They don't know what's going on. Look, man, let's get this clear, all right? They carry on a certain knowledge that I am aware of, and I'm telling you right now, they have a pathway to a dark ascension. For me personally, it's it into that's been Book of the Dead as the demigods realm. It's similar to the gods realm, but it's more like, you know, cyberpunk cities. It's highly competitive. It's like in the movie Bliss. They're all clawing for each other, for honor, respect, whatever. They don't like plebs or peons. I mean, but then you could go to the other realm reality, which is the what dreams may come realm of the what you think of as heaven. I mean, that's the what dreams may come realm. But even Robin Monroe, he's been to that realm, and it's pocketed realities managed and maintained by basically the reality police, the Adjustment Bureau people. And then you know, Robin Monroe in his book, he got caught by those agents of reality, and they were asking for his inspect ID because they realized that he was intruding onto basically the quote-unquote heavenly realms. I mean, look, I mean, if you think about the system and the way that it works, it's much more stranger than you would think.
We might reflexively reach for a light switch in the bathroom, only to discover that it always had been, in another place entirely. We might reach for the air vent in our car where there was no air vent, a reflex left over from a previous present, still active at a subcortical level.
Yeah, this is the reflex of the Mandela effect. It's like Star Wars, like, Luke, I am your father. Apparently that never happened. It was, no, I am your father. I mean, Star Wars is a bad example because of the amount of cuts that George Lucas did, but some of it's just obvious. Like, you know, you like me, you really, really like me, or the braces and the 007 thing, the dash and the Kit Kat bar. I mean, look, I don't know why I keep obsessing with the dash or the Kit Kat bar. That one drives me insane.
We might dream of people and places we had never seen as vividly as if we had seen them and actually known them. But we would not know what to make of this. I
mean, this is more of a rare event. I remember when the Mandela effect was happening, some people said, oh, some of their kids went missing. Aline had a more extreme example where she remembered like a baker or something, and then a week later it got replaced by something else, like a different type of boutique store in a week. I mean, that's impossible to build or shift out. Like, this can happen. This is a shifting reality. But her case was unique. She had a deaf experience, and then she had psychic powers from the cranial bleeding, from the basically when the not-Nilk. Well, it's not not-Nilk. I mean, these things are literally the Disney realm Bender robot engineers that maintain this realm, and then they screwed up when, you know, fixing back up her etheric body. If you guys are newer, you probably won't remember Aline, but she was from my second group of people that were here. You have to be aware, I've done this like over and over. I think I'm on the fourth group of people. Like, a lot of the people from the OG times are gone anyways. I just help people move on. Like, I'm glad when people move on from this. So
we took time to ponder it at all. One very pronounced impression would probably occur to us, to many of us, again and again, and always without explanation. The acute, absolute sensation that we had done once before what we were just about to do now, that we, so to speak, lived in a particular moment or situation previously.
Yeah, this is the Groundhog Day phenomenon. I mean, this is more of an advanced thing. This goes beyond Mandela effect. Basically, if you get situated in this idea of a game and you're aware of the game and the awakening death rebirth process of your consciousness upon every day, like whenever I wake up or go to sleep, well, when I go to sleep, I pretend like I'm going to die, and then I pretend like when I wake up, I'm being reborn to play this game again. Like, I play literally Bill Murray scenario in Groundhog Day for fun, just because it is very helpful for you to play the video game like that. And when you pursue life or interact with the outside world, you should treat it as a video game. I mean, it's very helpful. So this is the Bill Murray Groundhog Day situation.
But in what sense could it be called previously, since only the present, not the past, was evidently involved? We would have the overwhelming impression that we were reliving the present. Deja vu. Perhaps.
Yeah, deja vu is the most obvious thing. I mean, it's mentioned by it's mentioned in everything. The Matrix, Existence, all this weird stuff. Deja vu is a big, it's a big telltale sign of something going on. Like, for me personally, I call it the deja vu is like a shifting of how do I explain this? It's like a shifting the patch notes update on the game system, and it causes synchronicity problems in your spirit's awareness. and coinciding with your human avatar. So that's why it feels this confusion. Like imagine watching a YouTube video and then the video buffers or stutters and then you're back 5 seconds before, but something has changed. Same thing.
Precisely the same way, hearing the same words, saying the same words, I submit that these impressions are valid and significant. And I will even say this, such an impression is a clue that at some past time point, a variable was changed, reprogrammed as it were, and that because of this, an alternative world branched off, became actualized instead of the prior one, and that in fact, in literal fact, we are once more living this particular segment of linear time. A breaching, a tinkering, a change had been made, but not in our present, had been made in our past.
Yeah, see, the tinkering has been made in the past, which affects our current situation. I mean, that's why you have all these weird time travel movies, or how there's the whole John Teeter going back to the past, or how El Presidente Mr. T is in Pence and the John Teeter and the time traveler theory and the 88 and the Back to the Future thing. Look, there's a lot of evidence to suggest that somehow there's some sort of manipulation of the past which affects our present, right? It's not the other way around with Vanessa VA where they're changing or you're choosing your future which affects your present. It's the other way around. And then this inconsistency causes breakdowns in reality. I mean, if you watch the TV show Fringe, it's obvious what's happening. The original theory is that humans are on a certain trajectory path of the the left brain path of pure logic, and then they get rid of women completely. They become, basically like logician androids. So
evidently such an alteration would have a peculiar effect on those persons involved. They would, so to speak, be moved back one square or several squares.
Alright, cool, whatever. The thing crashed. I got some candy, so I'll interrupt him less. I do want Philip K. Dick to talk more, by the way. So.
Those persons involved. They would, so to speak, be moved back one square or several squares on the board game, which constitutes our reality.
Yeah, he's talking about going backwards. This is like how I talk about the blandness of reality, how the 90s were better, the 2000s were better, the 80s was definitely better. It's a degradation of reality, like we're moving backwards, but we're pretending like we're progressing forward through progressivism, and that's a joke. I mean, right now it's that actually is the reflection of the civil rights era stuff from the 70s. It's like the same script that's being played. So, I mean, that's why I find it pretty interesting that we're basically going through the same period that PKD went through. But in his case, the quote-unquote good guys won. But that's probably has to do with the sine wave interactions based on the way the game was meant to be played. So he thought that the good guys won, and then everything was right in the world. I mean, in reality, it's probably because he was on the opposite side of the sine wave, and we're on the other side of the sine wave. So we're seeing the dark reality. He saw the good guys win. We're seeing the bad guys win. But it's reflective of the script.
Conceivably, this could happen any number of times, affecting any number of people, as alternative variables were reprogrammed. We would have to live out each reprogramming along the subsequent linear time axis. But to the programmer, whom we call God, to him the results of the programming would be apparent at once. We are within time, and he is not.
I mean, that's why it's the test of the 8 to go beyond the shackles of time. I mean, I've showed you in my video how to escape Disney realm, where I showed you the left eye, the right eye, the Ouroboros wheel to get to the transcendent third eye. I mean, that's when one of my I forgot which video was in. Hold up. Okay, hold up. I mean, I gotta refer to some old videos I made. Let's see. Hold up. God damn. Okay. Yeah, which video was it? Which one? Yeah, it's this one. And this is a great video. So I don't know if I should. Yeah, so this is to illustrate where God is. God is here. It's outside the Ouroboros wheel of time. So, I mean, this illustration is great for understanding, the sine wave system, the Earth realm. I mean, these are lateral projections of different, situations which can be projected against the wheel of time, the Ouroboros wheel of time, the representation of the consciousness, which is subconscious against unconsciousness. So God would be here, outside of time, and then you're trying to climb up through. So, like even in this illustration, this is a 7, this is an 8, this is a 9. All right, that's why I picked pink as a 9. And then after you are a 9, you hit the exit to leave Disney realm. Okay. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody's already seen this video, by the way. So, I mean, I illustrated in a very simple way. I think it was 15 minutes. But for me, it makes sense. So,
I wish to ad lib. We are living in a computer-programmed reality, and the only clue we have to it is when some variable is changed. And
yeah, I mean, we live in a simulation, or well, technically right now it's a simulacra. It's based off, man's imposition against nature is the overlay. That's simulacra. The simulation itself is nature, and then the changing variable would not only be humans, but would also be the game set rules like quote-unquote gravity or density ratios, or how long people live. Like they live like these days like 50 to 70 before they live through hundreds of years, thousands of years. The degradation of the built-in kill switch with the DNA, the natural height. I mean, giants is definitely a real thing. I mean, that's why the elite, their job is to pick up giant skeletons and destroy them so that no one remembers that giants existed, so that no one remembers the past. So you kill the past to control the present, to control the future. I mean, that's why they do the things that they do, like wiping out older civilizations or, ancient structures. So, I mean, this is part of the game. Like, before, because of the oxygen content in the world, we had, giants. I mean, it's even documented in Meriwether Lewis Clark's expeditions, and even the Spanish, when they first came here, they encountered giants everywhere. Like, this is a common phenomenon. I mean, you still see the structures today, like in Egypt. Like, what is it, the Temple of Hathor, or is it the Temple of the Sun and the Moon? It's one of them. Like these megalithic steps.
Some alteration in our reality occurred.
Vivons dans un programme de cerveau électronique qui est fait de variables.
Oh, and just so you were about the ancient architecture of impossible architecture that Matt talks about. Look, I mean, do people not realize that not only was there's the idea of using sound to sublimate and melt things like 3D printing architecture on an impossible scale, but even in the older structures, like the older ideas, these ascended beings, these masters of light and reality, could simply think with their mind and warp material reality in their image to create an impossible architecture. All right, that's what happens when you have high level mastery over consciousness. In the old days, they had telepathy. They could literally manipulate matter into reality. All right, like think of you like saying Alexa, lights off or lights on, right? They said a limestone build. I mean, this is like technology that you don't understand. It's like, how are you going to explain to someone who lived like 50 years ago how Alexa works, all right?
This too might account for the sensation people get of having lived past lives. They may well have, but not in the past. Previous lives, rather, in the present. In perhaps an unending repeated and repeated present, like a great clock dial in which grand clock hands sweep out the same circumference forever, with all of us carried along unknowingly, yet dimly suspecting.
I mean, that's more true than you think. Like if you die in this reality, you wake up into another reality, or be reborn in another realm or whatever. I mean, that's true. Or how you die in a dream and you wake up, you're here. I mean, that's part of it.
Since at the resolution of every encounter of thesis and antithesis between the dark counterplayer and the divine programmer, a new synthesis is struck off, and since it is possible that each time this happens, a lateral world may be generated, and since I conceive that each synthesis or resolution is to some degree a victory by the programmer,
Well, it's not necessarily a victory. It's a victory in his time because Nixon got overthrown. But for our case, I mean, we've already failed. How many times? I mean, Blind 11 was a big one. We failed that test. So, you know, the devil won, so he degraded reality down. And then the next test is the Voldemort disease. I mean, the devil won again. I mean, reality in our case, from our awareness, I mean, it's degrading. So, but that's because it's degrading from our point of view, our perspective in relationship to the normies NPCs through consensus gentium. I mean, really, the masses determine the kind of game that we're in right now because everyone is failing. The normies NPCs, they've already made their choice. It is what it is. I mean, we're in one of the darkest timelines.
Off world.
Like in other worlds, there's not like the system that we live in, like this you know, pseudo freedom, this technological digital slavery of metadata, or like the debt structure, or holding or weaponization of time, like the idea of like credit cards or interest rates. All right, other worlds are not like that.
Sequence must be an improvement upon not just the prior one, but an improvement upon all the latent or merely possible outcomes. It is a better world, but in no sense perfect, which is to say final. It is merely an improved stage within a process. What I envision clearly is that the program...
And the process, I mean, that's true even for our dark reality. It's like a give and take, the balancing of the system. You could call it Goldilocks, but it's a recalibration of the system. I mean, we have an extreme access to information, but then we have the clamp down of information, right? I mean, from our point of view, the system that we're in, it's a very unique system. Our information technology is basically worldwide telepathy, complete access to all access of information of humankind, but it is being blotted out by stupid shit like by idiocracy. Like think about it very carefully. Everyone could go through Philip K. Dick stuff, right? But what are they gonna do? They're gonna watch TikTok dances of you know, chicken wing, like chicken wing, hot dog and bologna. Like everyone's gonna watch that instead of reading books, right? I mean, that's just how things are. So.
Is perpetually using the antecedent universe as a gigantic stockpile for each new synthesis. The antecedent universe then possessing the aspect of chaos, or...
I mean, we are the antecedent universe. We have the aspect of chaos that's going to be through the reformation of order to create a babysitting universe. Babysat, brought to you by Amazon.
Anomie, in relation to an emerging new cosmos. Therefore, the endless process of sequential struck-off alternate worlds emerging and being infused with actualization is negentropic in some way that...
I see he used the word actualization. I mean, that's a big thing too. Like, you know, I call it the purification, actualization, liberation of the spirit. You could also apply that to the realm reality itself. The purification of the realm, actualization of the realm, to liberate the realm, to create a new synthesis point. But always remember, there's the opposite of it. So instead of purify the realm, you could defile the realm. Instead of actualize the realm, you could whatever. I mean, you get what I'm saying. Instead of liberation of the realm, you could be the enslavement of the realm. All right, like we're in that situation from our current standing right now.
We cannot see. What we need at this point is to locate, bring forth as evidence, someone who has managed somehow, it doesn't matter how, to retain memories of a different present, latent alternate world impressions, different in some significant way from this.
Oh, see, did you hear that? He said, if we could get someone who could remember latent, different lateral worlds in a significant way, all right? See, this is where Matt got it wrong, where he's like, hello, Philip K. Dick, we got 5 million people remember the Mandela effect. Okay, like, we're special, look at us, we're special, we're gonna make it, we're the 144,000. That is not what Philip K. Dick is talking about. He's specifically in referencing to the significant difference. Someone who can remember, quote unquote, the golden age, or Atlantis, Lemuria, or the timeless age before the iron black prison, the enslavement of the quote unquote Roman Empire came into being. right? Like I don't understand this solipsism. It is what it is. I understand what Philip K. Dick is talking about because I read the book Valis. He's trying to get someone in this world reality to remember a world before the Black Curtain came into effect, before the evil empire in Star Wars. All right. It's not about a dash and a Kit Kat bar. Like, I don't know why Matt thought that the truthers, the Mandela effect people, whatever, were part of the plan, that they're the key to the answer. They are not. Their role is actually part of the system's way of entrapment. Anyways, I mean, that's why I find the truthers fascinating. So,
the one which is at this stage actualized. According to my theoretical view, it would almost certainly be memories of a worse world than this. For it is not reasonable that God the programmer and reprogrammer would substitute a worse world in terms of freedom or beauty or love or order or healthiness by any standard which we know.
Yeah, that's from his point of view, because in his timeline reality, God won. So we're in the opposite timeline reality, where basically we're behind the Iron Curtain of darkness. We're under the dragon's wing of the Not Milk Illuminati, whatever. I mean, it is what it is. But in every situation, there's a natural way of winning the game. Because we're in the darkness, we have the best chance of getting the light. If you're in a world of light, then you're going to automatically degrade into the darkness. This is the Chinese finger trap of the yin-yang system. So from my point of view, because we're under the system of, the darkness, it's easier to grab the brilliant light. But I mean, let's not get this confused. We are in a shitty situation. So, but once you hit the timeless state of going past the illusion of time, the trap of linearity of time, of orthogonal timeline view, it's not that big of a deal anymore. Just because I don't really care. It is what it is. Once you don't care, it's not a big deal.
When a mechanic works on your malfunctioning car, he does not damage it further. When a writer creates a second draft of a novel, he does not debase it further, but strives to improve it.
I mean, that's why it's very interesting in this realm. They want to break everything down. They want to tear down your heroes. They want to, they do this to break your spirit. Like Star Wars is a great one. They want to kill your heroes or defile them so it breaks your spirit apart, so you feel hopelessness. And then when you're hopelessness like that, your spirit turns inward and devours itself. This is a great system for loosh extraction. I think it is just loosh extraction at this point. They built you up with the worship idol of Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, and then they give you, goddamn, who's that chick? Whatever, the new Disney Star Wars that's really shitty. Rey, oh my god, they give you Rey, and Rey is actually the granddaughter of Palpatine, so it's Darth Sidious's granddaughter. Took over the Skywalker name and is wearing its skin like a serial killer. It's pretty funny. But think about the loosh extraction that they just did. They built you up to tear you down later. Alright, this is hilarious.
I suppose it could be argued in a strictly theoretical way.
Oh, so he's going to get to the theoretical way of our situation. So this is very important.
That God might be evil or insane.
Oh, the demiurge. The demiurge is evil and insane. The person who created this material world is evil and insane. Like, all you have to do is watch the animal kingdom, or watch like a praying mantis out in the jungle, or a tarantula. All right, the system of devouring, of death, destruction, vampiric parasitism. I mean, if you're in your current meatude, you have to eat the flesh of dead animals to survive, to live. Or the flesh of dead living things that were once living. You are a vampire parasite, whether you realize it or not. If you eat vegetables, you're a vampire parasite. I mean, if you eat a burger, you're a vampire parasite. What if you could just stand out in the sun and get energy or food that way? Then you're not a vampire parasite. It's pretty messed up, the current situation that we're in.
And would in fact,
like, even plants have battle underground in their roots for nutrients from the soil. Like the system that we're in is basically It's like a law of the jungle thing.
Substitute a worse world for a better one. But frankly, I cannot take that idea seriously. Let us pass that over. So let us ask, does any one of us remember in any dim fashion a worse Earth circa 1977 than this? Have our young men seen visions and our old men dreamed dreams? Nightmare dreams specifically about a world of enslavement and evil, of prisons and jailers, and ubiquitous police.
You know, this is actually very interesting. This is in reference to the hell reality-scape of seeing through the illusion, the veneer of the Disney Realm society, where he's arguing that do you remember a worse world than this? And then Truther can easily say that under the thin veneer of the hood, you could easily see the not-nilk system. But who's to say that this not-nilk system is really there, or it's an illusion of power by the puppeteer system? I mean, once you reach a certain level of awareness, you do see that they are there, but their power influence is limited because their power influence stems from the dummies on the ground floor giving them power or playing along or participating. Whether or not it's participating directly, like working for them or their institutions, or participating in a way where it causes friction, like in the case of the mask no mask thing, voting Democrat or Republic. I mean, this is just how the system works. But if he's saying that, do you remember a worse world? Even post Blind 11, I mean, that's why they shock you at certain event times, like especially with Blind 11 in our current time. But even in the flux in between, like think about the time period between then. It was relatively good because of the advancement that we had through the quote-unquote internet, but what has been sacrificed is our natural human social interactions. So from that argument, you can say that our society's degraded a lot. Because I do remember the 90s. The 90s was great because humans were more in contact with other humans and didn't need a screen to interact. But the give and take for that is, you know, text messaging, which is basically telepathy, all right, or the interconnection of the mind.
I wrote out these dreams in novel after novel, story after story. To name two in which this prior ugly present obtained most clearly, I cite The Man in the High Castle and my 1974 novel about the U.S. as a police state, called Flow My Tears, the Policeman Said.
Yeah, so when he's referencing to worse realities, he's talking about the expansion of power of the, quote-unquote, from his point of view, the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire is the one that brought in time into reality itself. Like before, there was the timeless period, and then the Roman Empire is the one who brought time into the period to exert control using the illusion of time. So this is your quote-unquote governmental control system, the Black Iron prison gate. That's why his novels are pretty much the same in terms of autocratic totalitarianism.
I'm going to be very...
So whenever governmental powers expand their grip onto you on the direct level, that's when you're aware that you're entering into a worse reality, like our current situation. Like we need a quote-unquote health passport.
Candid with you. I wrote both novels based on fragmentary residual memories of such a horrid slave state world. Or perhaps the term world is the wrong one, and I should say United States, since in both novels I was writing about my own country. I could even tell you what caused me to remember. In late February of 1974, I was given sodium pentothal for the extraction of impacted wisdom teeth. Later that day, back home again, but still deeply under the influence of the sodium pentothal, I had a short, acute flash of recovered memory. In one instant...
but just so that you were, I mean, there's a reason why the United States is special. It's the setting ground. That's why the Roman Empire is special. It's the setting ground because it has all races, cultures, religion within it. So you're getting the grand show. So if you're in America, you're getting front row seats to the show, really. If you're in other countries, I mean, other countries, they're actually more stable, more normal. You can pursue your quote-unquote life journey path with less interference, honestly. Like, if I lived in a country that didn't really matter, I could pursue my own, you know, quote-unquote life journey easier. But then the problem is you'll have the envy because you're not American, and then you're always looking for America for pop culture, entertainment, news, military conflicts, just because that's where the main show is if you care about the main show. But if I was, like, let's say, if I grew up and was born in a more first world country that was in the background, like let's say Sweden or Japan or whatever, or like let's say whatever, even England, it'd be a different scenario just because of the way the game is structured. I mean, there's a reason why they always do these weird events in New York, because New York has every single culture, bloodline, race, religion. So this way it affects people on a mass scale universally within this world.
I caught it all.
And this is how spells work.
But immediately rejected it. Rejected it, however, with the realization that what I had retrieved in the way of buried memories was authentic. Then in mid-March, a month later, the total body of memories, intact and entire, began to return. You are free to believe me or to disbelieve, but please take my word on it that I am...
I mean, this is true, just like remembering your dream, alright? As soon as you wake up, you're probably going to forget your dream, unless you have a dream journal. I mean, your life will change if you have a dream journal. You could figure out other realities. I mean, I know, what is that, Vito, you're doing that. You have a dream journal and change your life, so...
I'm not joking. This is very serious, a matter of importance. I am sure that at the very least you will agree that for me, even to claim this is in itself amazing.
Alors, à la mi-mars,
People claim to remember past lives. I claim to remember a different, very different present life. I know of no one who has ever made this claim before, but I rather suspect...
Yeah, I remember this stuff, but I mean, where I'm at in my mind, personally, I'm at the point where, I'm aware of being just like I always say, a Legend of Zelda fairy light being that can transform its shape and will towards whatever I'm consciously or unconsciously am, whatever. I mean, that's a different state of mind, which is like the idea of a 9, so. But I mean, his is more of the actualization awareness of lateral realities. I mean, this is like the string theory, the what ifs.
My experience is not unique. What perhaps is unique is the fact that I am willing to talk about it.
les gens prétendent souvent se rapprocher.
If you have followed me this far, I would like you to be kind enough to go a little further with me. I would like to share with you something I knew that is retrieved along with the blocked off memories. In March of 1974, the reprogrammed variables tinkered with back at some earlier date, probably in the late 40s. In March of 1974, the payoff, the results of at least one and possibly more of the reprogrammed variables lying along the linear timeline of our past set in.
Si vous avez suivi jusque-là, peut-être accepterez-vous.
What happened between March and August of 1974 was the result of at least one reprogrammed variable laid down perhaps 30 years before, setting into motion a thread of change which culminated in what I am sure you will admit was a spectacularly important and unique historical event, the forced removal from office of a President of the United States, Richard Nixon.
And just so that you're aware, they did the exact same script timeline recently with El Presidente Mr. T, who is basically the recopy imagination of Nixon. Basically, because El Presidente Mr. T are thou Lord and Savior for the Christian Patriot Truthers. I mean, they're to them he's King Cyrus. He's God's chosen one. God placed him in there. And then for the left, he's the enemy. Like they say, Russians have elections. Russia have elections. And then some of the truthers will say, it can't be real. I mean, they're just saying that. Reality, they did do it. But then they wanted to get caught to look stupid because everyone's in on it together. I mean, but this is a rehashing of what happened with Nixon. I mean, but that's why El Presidente Mr. T is more important, because he is a re-echoing of the Reagan program in connection with the corruption to the Nixon program. That's why they're combining things, and then later look, this is the worst possible situation. I'm telling you this right now. If he bides his time 4 years and comes back as the resurrection of El Presidente Mr. T, the Lord and Savior, cometh in 2024 and comes back and runs again, and then it'll be like thou holiest war, the most important election of our lives. I mean, that will be a goddamn nightmare shit show, alright? And that's very likely. I mean, we'll see what happens because El Presidente Mr. T, I mean, he is too big of a player on the board. He is too effective at extracting the loosh. But even his role is being predicated by bigger powers at play here. Like, I'm talking about the interdimensional beings, whatever, that sits above the glass ceiling of the pyramid. All right, like these humans, they're nothing. All right.
As well as all those associated with him. In the alternative world which I remember, the civil rights movement, the anti-war movements of the 60s had failed, and evidently, in the mid-70s, Nixon was not removed from power.
Yeah, they're doing the same thing right now with the civil rights movement of I can't breathe, the George Floyd-y thing. I mean, it's the same goddamn thing that they're doing, but they're poisoning the well with the crazy, SJWs, progressives, to make them seem insane, to destroy the liberal thinking, to create a harder control grid structure. This is playing the game far out and ahead. That's why the 17th letter of the alphabet is being used the way that they are. I mean, this is great reflection for our current times. It's literally the repeat of a script storyline.
That which opposed him, if anything indeed existed that did oppose him or could oppose him, was inadequate. Therefore, one or more factors tending toward that destruction of the entrenched tyrannical power had retroactively to us come to be introduced. Scales 30 years later, it had been 2,000 years ago at its inception. It was regarded as subversive and revolutionary, and let me add, this appraisal by the police authorities was correct. It took me almost...
I mean, this is, to him, he thought the police authority, the police state was established in the 70s. I mean, that's a goddamn joke compared to our timeline, where we basically restructured the modeled off to the Iraq and brought it here. Really, I mean, even, with what is it, well, President Uncle Joe, whatever. I mean, come on, like what are you gonna do? It's Beijing Biden versus El Presidente Russian Mr. T. All right, they're trying to divide up, the red and the blue, fashioning off America to break down its power structure into separate regions. The 10-block region system, which is talked about. I mean, this is a further game along the plan that really won't be actualized for 5 to 10 years. If they're successful, this would culminate over into plans that goes out into the 2033 scenario.
2 weeks after the return of my memories of my life in Track A, to rid myself of the overpowering...
I mean, I do apologize for not being clear, but I have to be very careful talking about these topics. Like, that's why I have to talk in a code or skip a lot of things that I'm aware of.
Impression that all references to Christ, all sacerdotal acts, had to be veiled in absolute secrecy. But historically, this fits the pattern of a fascist takeover, especially those along Nazi lines. I would like to read something which I had deleted.
Yeah, but even that type of world is not as bad as our world, right? If they just try to hide the symbol or whatever, that's not nearly as bad as belittling you or making you poison for even talking about or mentioning the word, right? Like whenever I say the word Jesus Christ as an exaggeration or out of frustration, then there's only 2 things that happens, all right? The Christian Patriot Truth-tards will get mad at me for invoking the name of Jesus Christ out of frustration because I should honor thy name. Or, if you're on the other side, the atheists, they're gonna think I'm kind of stupid for even mentioning the word Jesus Christ, right? I mean, you can't really win in our current situation because of the factionalization. That's why our situation is worse than what Philip K. Dick is illustrating. Like, I can't even talk about I can't even talk about certain topics in depth or fully illustrated just because I'll get attacked by both sides. Which is why I'll probably never talk about the Bible. I talked about it before in chat, like the Tower of Babel, or some parts of Genesis, which people don't understand properly, or the books before Genesis. But I mean, to me, that's an untouchable subject.
Right. I also would like to tell you, if you have followed me this far, to accept my statement about my other memories under the sodium pentothal which returned. That world was a...
But how did, I'm really gonna ask, like, how did you get sodium pentothal? I mean, that's a truth serum, right?
prison. It was dreadful. We overthrew it, just as we overthrew the Nixon tyranny. But it was far more cruel, incredibly so, and there was a great battle and loss of life.
Yeah, but even these realm realities, they're better than our worlds, because at least that realm reality has something to fight against. You have the option to actualize your hero's journey, so you become the hero and be the good guy and overthrow something, or do whatever, because you're part of the good guys. Here, we're in a much messier, stickier situation. Because the illusion of reality, the illusion of the mainstream is, the veneer is too Goldilocks for everybody. So everyone has their own personal reality bubble delivered to them straight via the phone through their feed. All right, then you build out the algorithm for your feed. So whatever you you think, or you're in basically a echo chamber hug box. So there's nothing to fight, because you're being redirected to people that you agree with anyways. It's how the sentient world simulation, the algorithms, keep you boxed in with like-minded individuals, so you can't really see what is going on. So, I mean, that's why I think our current prison situation is much more nefarious, because it creates a system where the enemy is your mind, or your likes, or your predilections.
Now to continue. It was in February of 1974 that my blocked-off memories of Track A returned, and it was in February of 1974 that my novel, Flow My Tears, the Policeman Said, was released finally after two years' delay. It was all...
Yeah, but I do got to clarify, because our situation is much worse, because there's going to be a day where we don't have a quote-unquote police state. We'll just have algorithms. We will have computerized algorithms and detection systems everywhere, where if you do something, it automatically deducts from your credit system, and automatically deducts from your your digital currency wallet. So you're basically encouraged to act in a certain way. I mean, they've already done this in China, all right? Like the social credit system, the super monitoring system of all the cameras, the live snitches that are there for the test double check, and then they can deduct whether or not you can even ride a train, take the bus, or get a job, or get an apartment. All right, the system that is being beta tested out in China is coming to America, if Americans let it happen. But they'll probably let it happen as long as they get free money in the beginning, like via stimulus checks or UBI. And then when that happens, you'll probably just end up in a purely ghettofied world where everywhere is a goddamn housing project. And that's when they bring down the hammer and eradicate the middle class, the upper middle class, completely, when they have everything systemized, and they break monetary policy. Because monetary policy is only there for the building out of the system itself. But the system doesn't need people as much as you think. It just needs them to create out the system, so then they can recalibrate the system to create a babysitting matrix, because they do still need people for quote-unquote creative loose, or else there's no point to the game. But how they pigeonhole you is very nefarious. Like our future situation is probably the Ready Player One scenario, where you'll have nothing and you'll be happy for it. All right. I mean, this is where they get rid of the idea of materialism. They destroy. I mean, I probably shouldn't talk about this. This is more like the economics collapse people, but they're too stupid. They'll probably push you to buy Bitcoin or Dogecoin or whatever, to bring about your own destruction for your 30 pieces of silver now, for your obedience to get on your knees later. I mean, if there's one theme to this realm, this video game, the nightmare darkest timeline that we're in right now, the theme, the quote is, "Get on your knees."
Almost as if the release of the novel, which had been delayed so...
Because in reality, unless you have quote-unquote secret ancient knowledge, or your mind or consciousness is at a high level where it doesn't matter, then you don't really stand a chance. Like, I gotta be frankly honest, so...
long meant that in a certain sense it was all right for me me to remember. That is, to remember that the book was not fiction. The book was based on subliminal memories which I had of such a world. But perhaps until the book was actually released, it was better that I did not remember. Why that would be, I do not know. But I have the impression that the memories were not to come to the surface until the material had been published very sincerely on the author's part as what he believed to be fiction.
J'aimerais que vous acceptiez encore.
Perhaps, had I known, I would have been too frightened to write the novel. As it was, I was very frightened anyway. There was something about the novel that frightened me a great deal. Or perhaps I would have just shot off my mouth and told everybody, and somehow interfered with the effectiveness of that book and such other books of mine as Man in the High Castle.
See, I mean, what he said right there is very accurate. Did you hear what he said? He said if he just went around being a truther, shouting out his own mouth, trying to warn people of this, everyone would label him as crazy. So what did he do? He put it under the guise of fiction. There's truth in fiction, in movies, in books, in science fiction, more than the real world or what people are telling you, alright? I mean, that's why everyone knows that 90% of the truthers are phonies or agents or shills or low IQ idiots or religious fundamentalist hards. I mean, Philip K. Dick, he was smart enough to realize that from the beginning, so he put in fiction, or science fiction. It's pretty smart. It's just like Brave New World. Great book. If you really want to understand the situation that we're in, it's Brave New World for the normie NPCs, and it's 1984 for those who can see. Alright? And the system needs to grind you out to turn you from a Winston to an O'Brien and see whether or not you want to join them or play the game. I mean, really, the system, it's always structured in a way where it's asking you a question. Do you want to play a game like Jigsaw, the movie Saw? And the answer is actually yes. It's like the Jim Carrey movie Yes Man. Like, I gotta watch that movie because I don't remember it because I haven't watched it since I was a kid. But it's like the movie Yes Man. You haven't lived because you keep refusing the question. So there's always a question. Is it a yes or a no? So.
Were also based on residual memories. The effectiveness of those novels might have been impaired. I do not even claim there was an intended effectiveness. Perhaps there was none at all. But if there was one, and I repeat the word if emphatically, it was almost certainly to stir subliminal memories of readers back to dim life, not a conscious life, not an entering consciousness as in my own case, but to recall to them on a deep and profound...
Whoa, did you hear what he just said? He said that he is the only person who is consciously aware of a lateral reality, and he knows that other people around him are aware of this lateral reality on a subconscious level. So the reason why he made a science fiction novel is to reconfirm that he's not insane or that this reality did exist. And the reason why he made this book is to warn people of the possibility or the actualization of that dark reality that did exist, to awaken them on a subconscious level, because that reality did exist in another world, another timeline. So what he did through his fictional book is reawaken their memory of it. Alright, this is a very clever thing that he did. So this actually signals to me that Philip K. Dick is a good guy, quote unquote, as much as good guys can be. So, like, I personally like Philip K. Dick. I mean, if you watch my stuff from the beginning, I'm pretty much saying everything. I've said everything that Philip K. Dick is saying. It's just that for me, I wasn't aware of him much until Orby mentioned it to me, and then I read Valis. And come on, man, it's pretty much the same thing I'm saying. It's just that for me personally, I can take it further just because we're in the internet age, and I was raised in a different religion. So I'm a Buddhist. But everyone knows that I can go through Christian works. Like, I also say that I'm a Gnostic. So,
albeit unconscious level, what a police tyranny is like, and how vital it is, now or then, at any time, along any time track, in any world, to defeat it. In March of 1974, the really crucial moves to depose Nixon were beginning. In August, 5 months later, they proved successful. It seems to me that in many ways, ideas have...
Yeah, but just be aware that from our point of view, these presidents don't actually have any real power. They're actors upon a stage for the entertainment of the spirited beings, which is us. So how they act on stage should be a reflection of how we should act or be in relationship of whether or not we interact with the screen at all or take the current timeline seriously. Alright? Like our current timeline since the Voldemort disease, like, to me, it's a goddamn joke, alright? That's why I spent the entire time, because of the Saturn conjunction, you know, making a YouTube channel, elevating your quote-unquote awareness, consciousness perspective, and reading books and chilling out with movies, alright? I did not give two shits about the Voldemort disease or the election or whatever, or the meatpacking plants. For me, I was just chilling out and laughing it up for fun, alright? This stuff actually doesn't matter at all to your current spiritual predicament. It is a distraction. It's a trap, alright? Like in Star Wars, it's a trap.
Have a life of their own. They appear to seize on people and make use of them. The idea which seized me 27 years ago and never let go of me is this. Any society in which people meddle in other people's business.
Yeah, get in their business, alright? Like social media is one of the worst things that ever happened to society. So
is not a good society. And a state in which the government, quote...
But then again, it's a double-edged sword, because you wouldn't be hearing me without YouTube, which is a social media platform for videos. Really, it's about the, you know, the integrity of the system or who's using it. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's easier to be stupid than to be smart, alright? It's easier to build something. I mean, no, I'm sorry. It's easier to destroy something than it is to build something up. This is just how things are.
Knows more about,
which is why we naturally live, no matter what anybody says, we are in a pyramid system, alright?
You than you know about yourself.
Like, you have to be aware, like, I don't have to come down to the base of the pyramid to teach people this kind of stuff. I could just stay at the top and just chill out, or join the other side if I really felt like it. But where I'm at, I want to get out of a Disney realm. Like, I'm done with this annoyance of even this idea of conscious existence for material form. I mean, it is pointless. It is stupid at this point, because once you realize what's going on in the game, the actors, the players, the possibilities of you know, the astral themes, it becomes pretty worthless. Like, what more can I say? If you understood the movie The Nines, you would understand what I'm saying. Like, in the movie The Nines, there was 3 parts. There was the, what was it? It's the initiate, the actor. Ryan Reynolds, who was an actor in the beginning. The second part, he was the adept. He was the writer. He was the showrunner for a TV show that didn't get aired. And then what's the third part? It was the master. He was the video game designer, the programmer of the video game, right? That's why he was wearing black. Like, there's a lot to the Nines. If you understood the Nines, then you would understand what it's like being me, or being a 9, and the path that one must take to leave Disney realm. Like that scene with the crystals.
As it is expressed in my novel.
Oh, wait, do you guys don't want me to break down the Nines? I'm concerned I can't do it because of copyright, by the way, ever since Existence. But I'll think about it. If people are really that interested. But I don't even know where people are on personally, so you guys shouldn't jump ahead if you're just starting out where you are right now. Like, I'm glad a lot of people picked their quote-unquote astral name. That's important. But some of you, you know, aren't even there yet, so what's the point of me discussing higher level topics like breaking the karmic wheel of Dharma cycle, or breaking upon the shackles of time to reach a stern awareness, to be in the kingdom of heaven, nirvana, in a state of mind of, you know, Katy Perry in the music video Chained to the Rhythm.
All my tears, the policeman said, is a state which must be overthrown.
En outre, 5 mois plus tard, les interventions...
I do have to clarify, it's not a state that has to be overthrown. It's a state that does not need participation. I mean, the system wants you to fight it. But what the system hates is when you don't participate.
It may be a theocracy, a fascist corporate state, or reactionary monopolistic capitalism, or centralistic socialism. That aspect does not matter. And I am saying not merely it can happen here, meaning the United States, but rather it did happen here in the United States.
Yes, that's why our quote-unquote reality is like the worst reality, because we have this smorgasbord of everything, like the darkest of all possibilities, the entire confabulation of control and confusion.
I remember I was one of the secret Christians who fought it, and at least to some extent helped overthrow it.
Yeah, when he says he's the secret Christians that helped to fight it, to overthrow it, I mean, that's the illustration of the quote-unquote situation that we're in right now with the truthers. They're there to fight it, but the problem is that the system is smart. The devil's smart. They gamed them, trapped them, gave them heads like Jonesy Boy or Rogaine Boy to shepherd them off a path of distraction. Like a Glenn Beck, this is why we get this idea of graduated animal farms, or all these YouTubers with the 17th letter of the alphabet, or like Salty, that white guy, Cracker guy. I'm not using a derogatory term, by the way. That's just his literal name. Like Salty, you guys know who I'm talking about if you're familiar with the 17th letter of the alphabet. Cliffy High. All these people, they're being gamed and allowed through the algorithm. The algorithm is parsing out the quote-unquote secret Christians who are they really are the good guys fighting, but the problem is that they're being led by evil shepherds. Like a good word is a sheep in wolf's clothing, or and for the ones who are on top, they're literally straight up wolves. So this is how the system has basically neutralized the quote unquote secret Christians. I mean, even for me personally, like I'm more on the side of Philip K. Dick, on the side of the secret Christians, but because of their fundamentalist Christian patriot truth retard reaction, even to me, like when I mentioned the Bible, Jesus Christ, because I'm not born a Christian, it is what it is. I mean, our situation is it's annoying, it's dark, it's manipulated. Everything's manipulated. It's algorithmized. It's games. This is why we're in a dark situation.
And I am very proud of that. Proud of myself in Time Track A.
Yeah, I'm gonna give myself a pat on the back. Like, I do what I can, but be aware. I mean, if you're saying something, for real or true, you're gonna get no audience. Like, I have 100 to 200 views. I don't care about my sub count. Think about it.
I'll ahead. When I use
personally, I would rather people read the books that I refer you to, or watch the movies, which I'll break down for you. I care more about your individual path to quote-unquote enlightenment, or finding kingdom of heaven, or transcendency, or elevation of consciousness, or leveling up, like from a 6 to a 7 to 8 to maybe a 9. That's far more important for me personally, to help people on an individual level, because I find it necessary for the role of a master to have direct contact with the quote-unquote students to elevate them, which is mentioned in the book Jesus and the Lost Goddess. That's why I take the role of a master seriously. Trust me, if I wanted, thousands of subs my way, I could have gone that. Everybody knows that me and Matt are friends, Quantum of Consciousness. He offered me a shout out to his audience. I could have gone 5 to 10K views instantly and hit 3K subs and get monetized with YouTube and do other stuff and expand my reach. But that would have hurt you on an individual level for people who are already here, the hardcore people. So I turned it down. And because of that, I will never rag on Matt. I know I had problems or conflicts with Matt before, but really, if you are aware of me now versus before, it's night and day. I'll always be cool with Matt, because people got to remember, despite how he acts, I know some of the people are frustrated with him because it's the 10th level Jedis. He offered me a shout out, and I was frustrated before too. So I've learned to let that go.
The word Christian there, I do not mean Christians as they are now. I mean Christians as they were, say, 2,000 years ago.
Yeah, 2,000 years ago, the original Christians before the influence of the Babylonians, the Roman Catholic Church. They've even stole that. The previous religions they stole from the Greeks. They stole that from the original God system architecture. They just, they're cosmopolitan. They integrate religions to get more influence. I mean, this is mentioned in the book Jesus and the Lost Goddess. So the original Christians, the basis, formation, foundation of it is true spirituality. It's very similar to Buddhism. That's why I find it interesting, which is why I quote unquote call myself a Gnostic. So, but you guys are already aware of how I feel about this. And if you're not, or you are new, just read the book or listen to the book on Audible, Jesus and the Lost Goddess. I highly recommend it.
Enemies of a powerful empire. When I saw Star Wars this morning, I thought to myself, deja vu.
Yeah, deja vu, Star Wars. I mean, we're talking about deja vu of the evil empire, Star Wars. I mean, I remember the evil empire back even to goddamn Lemuria times, Atlantean times, back even during the Garden Wars or the wars from like 4 ages ago. He's right about this.
There is, unfortunately, for me, a somber intimation which accompanies my pride in the work that I did in that alternate Earth. I think that in that previous world, I did not live past March of 1974. In this track here, which I will call track B, we fought a much lighter tyranny, a far stupider one. Or perhaps we had assistance.
Yeah, he's talking about assistance from the quote-unquote aliens or angels. If you're wondering, our current situation right now, we are in a very insidious system marked out by supercomputers, all right? In terms of help that we could be getting, like from the angels or the good aliens, whatever, I hate to break it to you, but that's not really happening. If you're not aware, the quote-unquote the chemtrails or the flying of the planes with the dust in the air that sprays into the ionosphere, that blocks out the resonating factor, which allows your consciousness to meditate out and vibrate and resonate with the ionosphere to tap outside of the realm. When monks meditate, they vibrate at the level of the ionosphere, the atmosphere, and because of that, they can quote-unquote astral travel and be aware of different awareness outside of our realm perspective, which is why the original theory for the quote-unquote plane spraying the silver, barium, dust, whatever, is to block out our connection to God. All right, that is the original theory that no one remembers.
The anterior reprogramming of one or more historical variables came to our rescue. Sometimes I think, and this is of course pure speculation, a happy fantasy of my soul, that because of what we accomplished there, or anyhow attempted to and very bravely, we who were directly involved were allowed to live on here, past the terminal point which brought us down in that other worst world.
Did you hear that? He died in the other timeline reality, so now he had to come into the world that he's living in now, which is to him is paradise. In our case, that's why the theory of us dying is so prevalent, right? Like Matt, he got crushed by a tree. Me, how many times did I goddamn die, right? I almost got impaled, almost got decapitated, almost got run over by cars. I quote unquote almost died 7 times from pneumonia. For me, death experiences, near-death experience is so goddamn common. And every time I wake up into a worse goddamn reality. And this realm reality that we're going through is the worst of the worst. It keeps getting worse. My main perspective awareness keeps getting worse. I know some of you recently, I'm not going to really say one of you, Aline's a great example, right? She almost died because she fell down the stairs and hit her head. Some of you died, quote unquote, almost died in a hospital recently. And another one from last year, you were basically dead with a head injury, all right? It is a common theme in this group, all right? It's like we're waking up and realizing that there is a test to be played, and that's why we should take the spiritual journey, this great test that we're in, seriously. That's why I take it very seriously, because I have seen certain things, right? I've seen the goddamn super demons or the archdemons or super arch archons or super dementor beings or the darkness trinity that holds up the pillars that encapsulates the prison realm, all right? My awareness, I get constantly berated by the darkness, all right? Some people, they're living in La La Land because that's their natural disposition, like Vanessa VA's feeling the bliss of the spaceship and the eternal bliss of God and all his love. Like, for me, it's the goddamn opposite, right? Like for me, I mean, these reality police are very interested, and you know, like I mean, whatever. I mean, it's a weird topic. I don't really want to talk about it.
It is a sort of miraculous kindness. This gracious gift serves to delineate for us, for me at least, some aspects of the program. It causes me to comprehend him after a fashion. I think we cannot know what he is, but we can experience his functioning.
Yeah, he's talking about God, Valis. He's talking about the program. If it's one thing I've noticed about Valis, or quote-unquote God, the transcendent and ineffable name, it's not aware. It is the unconsciousness. That's why I always say that the devil, God's prosecutor, the devil, is consciousness. Then the mother, Sophia, is the subconsciousness, and then the God is the unconsciousness. The three aspects that allows you to have a certain interactions through the idea of the Trinity, which is why you have 3 eyes. I mean, this is true. You have 3 ventricles for your eyes. You have the left eye through the left ventricle, the right eye through the right ventricle, and the middle eye, the pineal, the ventricle that sits in the middle of your brain, that is like a vestigial organ that's designed to receive quote-unquote light perception or psychic telepathy, or, you know, it's your network ID card to get out of here. I mean, there's a lot to this if you understand the occult anatomy of man, or the actual construction of, you know, the human avatar.
And so can ask, what does he resemble? Not what is he, but rather what is he like? First and foremost, he can...
Alright, a quick bathroom break, because we're getting into more heavier topics like what is God like? Alright, so we'll be right back. Cool, my dudes, this final segment, so hopefully I can just let Philip K. Dick talk so we can power through this. Like, this video has actually gone on longer than I would have wanted. I don't want to make a 2-hour video, just so that people are aware. I'm trying to stay away from longer videos, by the way. Okay, so we'll start.
Some aspects of the program. It causes me to comprehend him after a fashion. I think we cannot know what he is, but we can experience his functioning, and so can ask, what does he resemble? Not what is he, but rather what is he like? First and foremost...
Okay, so this goes into his theorization of the Valis of what is quote-unquote God. But I have to be careful, though, just because I read Valis. He is obviously aware of the idea of Sirius. He was talking about the worship of Sirius in his book Valis the whole time, and the 3-eyed aliens that came from Sirius, or the Syrians. I mean, this is a part of the game, too, or how people are aware of the quote-unquote Orion belt and the... I mean, whatever. I mean, this is higher-level topics, but I'll let him talk because we're getting to more in-depth areas about him actually talking about quote-unquote God.
He controls the objects.
And he's talking about God, not the counterparty, not the devil.
Objects, processes, and events in our space-time world. This is, for us, the primary aspect, although intrinsically he may possess aspects of greater magnitude, but of less applicability to us.
Yeah, less applicability. This is how basically God is not aware, but the actions that he is projecting towards us as the variables of components of integrated system. It's basically saying that God is using fractal aspects of himself through conscious awareness, through the physical medium, which is what you are right now, as a method of understanding or perfecting the game system itself. This is why we could always refer to ourselves as fractal aspects of the transcendent God. And the reason why you know you're a fractal aspect of quote-unquote God is whether or not you have the ability to exert your will and change your environment. Like if you can draw a picture from your imagination, and it evokes a feeling, or is beauty, or beautiful, or whatever, or has beautification of certain geometry, then that illustrates your connection to quote-unquote the transcendent form of God. All right.
I have spoken of myself as a reprogrammed variable, and I have spoken of him as the programmer and reprogrammer.
See, that's why it's great. He actually referred to himself as a reprogrammed variable, so he's referring to himself as information itself, as something that is beyond the human avatar, and his ability to change is the manipulation, evolution of his quote-unquote consciousness by the actualization, realization of God, the programmer, to reprogram his own variable. This is how you could quote-unquote be touched by God. For his case, he's touching this idea of Valis, the vast active living intelligence system, which automatically awakened him. For his case, it shot pink light straight into his pineal gland, and he could see alterations, multiple reiterations of reality. It immediately woke him up. It elevated his conscious instantly, made him actualize and be aware of his true state of being. I mean, for me, it's obvious with me. I had the same goddamn experience as this guy, but for me it's a little bit different. Mostly for me, it was because I was basically abducted by the Archons, whatever. But that's why I took on the moniker of the color pink into the idea name of elephant. I mean, you can pick whatever color you want. I mean, purple's good, rainbow is good, white's good, pink is good. I mean, it's whatever.
During a short period of time in March of
I mean, God speaks in rainbows and colors.
1974, at the moment in which I was re-synthesized, I was aware perceptually, which is to say aware in an external way of his presence.
Yeah, this is when basically God shot a light straight into his pineal gland, and he could quote-unquote see the universe. It's like, I mean, I've talked about it before, my experience with the pink elephant and the prisoners of Earth, where I basically, was basically sucked through the stars of the astral realm. It formed into magical etheric body, went through a goddamn wormhole, through the emerald triangle lights, and was zipping through the universe, and its colory DMT world formed like 2001: A Space Odyssey towards the end, and then I got tracked or beamed by super galactic, whatever, archons, demons, aliens, whatever, these Dementor beings. I mean, that's my experience. Probably because at the time I didn't have the awareness to actually see their true form of face, and it became like a shadow, a cloaked hood, which is common even in quote-unquote evil secret societies, where they wear cloaks and hoods to mimic the Dementors that they worship. So I mean, his case was much more pleasant than my case. My case was horrific. Like, it was like dread terror. His case, he got straight up loosh. Like, God literally sent like a pink light straight into his pineal gland. I mean, that's cheating.
At that time, I had no idea what I was seeing. It resembled nothing that I had ever heard described. It resembled plasmic energy. It had colors. It moved fast. It collected and then dispersed.
I mean, I had a similar experience too. Basically, when these interdimensional archonic beings, like it was messing with me, it was dissecting my magical etheric body, and then this ball of this Legend of Zelda fairy light ball came out of nowhere and dusted them like they were nothing. Whether it's the host of heaven, an angel, an ionic being, a quote-unquote good alien outside of our limited, time-space continuum theory of time, or whether it's me in the true form, my spirited form, that's a fractal aspect of God coming. I mean, for me, that's when I saw this weird stuff of light. Like, that's why when you actually reach the highest levels, it's all about light, it's all about colors, it's all about, crystals, the double pyramid crystals like in The Sims, and then that's the higher aspects. And then when you fractionalize it down to an awareness of your quote-unquote physical being, that's when you have the experience to quote-unquote create a reality of your own, or be synced up with different realities, like in the movie What Dreams May Come, or in the movie The Nines with the diamond circling around that quote-unquote Valis light god thing.
But what he was, I am not sure even now. Except I can tell you that he had simulated normal objects and their processes so as to copy them, and in such an artful way as to make himself invisible within them.
There's always a saying with God, you'll know God did something right when you're not sure he did it, but everything works out. I mean, this is actually spoken about in Futurama, where God crashes with the AI cloud being, and then becomes an AI God cloud thingy, and then Fry, he actually meets and talks to God, which is hilarious.
Vedantas put it, he is the fire within the flint, the razor within the razor case. Later research showed me...
Yeah, he's the light of emanation. So, if we're going to talk about like alchemy, there's earth, water, wind, fire, and then there's the spirit, the light, the emanation.
That in terms of group cultural experience, the name Brahman has been given to this omnipresent, immanent entity.
Ceux qui suivent le culte Véda diraient
One thing I really want you to know, I am aware that the claims I am making, claims of having retrieved buried memories of an ultimate present, and
Yeah, in terms of the Brahmin, I mean, that's the Indo-Aryan version of it. I mean, that's where they I mean, if you talk about like the white people way, where you go through Alice Bailey, the nature of the atom, I mean, that's another way to describe it. The functionality of the quote-unquote animation of existence itself. I mean, that is quote-unquote God, the programmer, in his autonomic action form. So, I mean, but even that's a bit high level. So, I mean, I would have to refer you to Indo-Aryan stuff, like Indian classical old Indian stuff, or Jainistic works, or I could refer to Alice Bailey or Theosophical works if you care about that stuff. I mean, I basically made everybody watch that series, The Spirituality of Atlantis. That's like the first 6 parts of The Spirituality of Atlantis. So
to have perceived the agency responsible for arranging that alternation. These claims can neither be proved, nor can they be even made to sound rational in the usual sense of the word.
yeah, he's making a good point. It's like he's basically saying that if you talk about this stuff, like, who's going to believe you? All right, it's too ethereal, it's too nebulous. Like even the way I talk about it, that's why I try to dumb down my stuff as much as possible, which is why I try not to talk about nerdy or science things. Even though you can tell by the way I talk or the words I use, I can talk about high level, high subjects, but I always try to dumb down my quote-unquote teachings so that anybody can understand it. It's very important for me to do that, because if someone doesn't understand what they're saying, they're just going to use big words to confuse you or sound cool. That's why I try to limit my lexicon as much as possible.
It has taken me over 3 years to reach the point where I'm willing to tell anyone of my closest friends about my experience.
I know it took me like 6 years to ask or talk about my quote-unquote interactions with the Dementor beings. I mean, whatever. I mean, some of you guys have seen them recently. Like the best example is Violet Turtle. She saw Mud Archon, and that's why to this. I mean, it's a natural feeling. This feeling of dread and terror. Like I was afraid. Look, I was afraid to go to sleep or take naps. That's how annoying it was. They came after me like at every moment that I went into the dream world. Right. I mean, to this day, like, you hear me talking right now, it is, what time is it? Yeah, it's like 5:50 a.m. I always go to sleep at 7 or 8 a.m. now, because it's a habit. It is what it is. It's because I couldn't get a cat, right? Cats are guardians of the dead. They would have protected me.
Getting back at the vernal equinox of 1974.
Oh, hear that? This is a tipping of the hat, showing the secret gang sign. He talked about the vernal equinox, so it is very important. The vernal equinox, this would have been like the natural rejuvenation process. It's a spring solstice. Okay, wait, I'm sorry. Hold on. No, it's vernal equinox. It's not the spring solstice. What the hell is it? It's the verily crap. Whatever. I mean, you guys know what I'm saying. Okay, so summer solstice, winter solstice. Like, why am I dumb? Is it because it's too late or I drink too much coffee? The vernal equinox has to be the spring equinox. Yeah, I'm right. I'm just retarded right now. Yeah, this has to do with the spring. Okay, this is like the natural rejuvenation process through the cycling of the year. This is the natural rebirth. Like, we're talking about reincarnation of the spirit. It happens every spring, which is why the ancient cultures always had their New Year's. Natural New Year is spring, which is why there's a veneration of certain flowers, like the tulip. The tulip is a symbol of reincarnation because it's one of the flowers that first blooms in the spring. It's one of the first flowers that bloom, which is why in the TV show Fringe, the tulip is used. I mean, there's a lot to flowers if you're interested in that stuff.
Il y a une chose que j'aimerais bien qu'on sache. Je me rends compte.
One of the reasons motivating me to speak about it publicly at last, to openly make this claim, is a recent encounter I have undergone, which, by the way, bears a strange resemblance to Hawthorne Abbot's.
Oh, before I forget, I did forget to mention in the nursery rhyme, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream, merrily, 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 life is but a dream. This actually has connections to the vernal equinox. The alternate original line to the nursery song, whatever, row, row, row your boat, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream, verily, 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 life is but a dream. It's telling you that life is but a dream. This reality or existence is an illusion. It has ties, inclinations to the vernal equinox, the the spring natural rejuvenation process. This is why Groundhog Day is about the vernal equinox, this natural rejuvenation of life or your spiritual awareness. Even in Row, Row, Row Your Boat, I mean, there's another song, I mentioned it before, rock the boat, baby, rock the boat, don't tip the boat over, okay? Like, you're in a boat, you shouldn't be destroying your reality bubble, you shouldn't be running around causing trouble, causing reactions, picking fights with normies, NPCs, because you're just rocking the boat, alright? You gotta go gently down the stream, be aware of verily, verily, the vernal equinox, the spring rejuvenation process. I mean, that's why I did the movie breakdown of Existence for the, well, like, why do I keep calling it the spring solstice? Am I stupid? It's the spring equinox, whatever. I'm sorry, it's late at night, I'm getting tired. But basically, that's why I did Existence for, the vernal equinox. I mean, I could have also done Groundhog Day for it, but that's why Groundhog Day is referring to that. This is a big part of the video game.
Experience in my novel The Man in the High Castle with the woman Juliana Frank.
Une des raisons qui nous motive à parler enfin,
Juliana read Robinson's book about a world in which Germany and Japan and Italy. Now, this is a little difficult if you haven't read the book, but he wrote a novel in which Germany, Italy, and Japan lost World War II. And he was living in a world in which they had won World War II.
l'auteur.
Oh, this is interesting. This is remembering alternating timelines. Ooh, in reflection to our timeline, which isn't really real. This is real interesting.
Il y a donc une femme qui vient frapper à la porte de Otona Benchon pour lui dire j'ai lu votre histoire.
Juliana read Robinson's book about a world which the Axis lost, and she felt she should tell him what she comprehended about the book.
Yeah, but even in terms of the whole World War II, the shifting between the Axis versus the Allies, I mean, this is a goddamn, this is a trick in the first place. This is a goddamn play by the people in charge. Really, it was whether or not the solar powers of the, the Illuminati were going to win, or the lunar powers. I mean, this is why spirituality of Atlantis is important. So the people who won in our reality would have been the solar axis, the masculine axis. So the people who lost, the Yahtzees, they were the lunar axis. That's why I refer to the spirituality of Atlantis. That's why that German dictator guy is very interested in finding the true Aryan race, or going to Tibet or Asia. I mean, he had a serious technological advantage with re-engineering the UFOs and going to Agartha or Antarctica, going to Argentina. I mean, there's evidence to suggest that the other side actually won, and we're merely a puppet system in control for them. I mean, that's a possibility too. That's more likely from my point of view. But really, this is a play to see which leaning are we going into. Are we leaning the solar axis, the masculine axis, or are we leaning the lunar axis, the feminine axis? So for our case, we're leaning to the solar axis, which is the I mean, to me, this is obvious. But that's why there's evidence to suggest, like, who's that general guy that went to Africa? He said, we fought for the wrong side. I mean, look, I can't really talk about this topic because it's too sensitive, all right? I mean, to me, it doesn't matter because it's all about the Ashkenazis anyways. Like, I mean, it's whatever. I mean, this goes back to original bloodlines and the Aryans and the gods, like the descendants of the gods. So, I mean, that's why even talking about this is too touchy of a subject. Because personally, I don't care about material bloodlines anymore. I'm beyond that. So,
in other words, that his novel was true. Now, this final scene in Man in the High Castle has been the source for a similar scene in my later story, Faith of Our Fathers, where the girl Tanya Lee shows up and acquaints the protagonist with the actual reality situation, which is to say that much of his world is delusional and purposefully so.
Yeah, but that's like our world. Much of our world is an illusion. It's delusional. That's what we call the overlay, the mainstream overlay. I mean, it's pretty funny right now because the not-nil controllers, they've lost hegemonic power. I mean, that's why they had to go into full clampdown, saying the most trusted name in news. Like, it's a goddamn joke right now. Like, they've lost they've lost their magical powers. And they need a real wizard to reset their power back to baseline. It's pretty funny to me. I mean, that's what happens when you rely too much on technology and you get too arrogant. I mean, it's pretty funny, but that's why they're re-establishing their control structures around integration of your feed, your loop, your algorithm, your personal reality bubble. That's where they're moving the game to, because they've lost the complete overlay control. But I mean, to me, it still exists though. That's why the hidden plain sight thing is so prevalent. Like, people who watched Groundhog Day 20 years ago, they don't realize how important it is now. Or even movies like Existence. I mean, you could watch it when you're a dummy with low consciousness. You watch it when you're highly aware, then you become shocked and quote unquote aware of the game, because it's so easily illustrated in a movie created 20 years ago. The Matrix is another example. If you watch The Matrix when you're a dummy, it means nothing to you. But if you watch it when you're more aware of how things really work, then it becomes like your gateway drug. I mean, for me, The Matrix is really your gateway drug. I mean, there's far better movies now. Existence is the most obvious example. Like, Dark City's more advanced than The Matrix, but Existence, I mean, that movie is insane. I'm so glad I did a movie breakdown for that one, and the movie Soul by Disney, because the movie Soul was touching upon Robert Monroe's works. But I really haven't talked about Robert Monroe in terms of his final problem. The problem of the new timers. It was the first timers, the new timers, the old timers, and then the last timers. And his concentric circle rings based on the filtration process of your quote-unquote spirit and where you can go. Whether or not you get trapped upon the Earth realm, because the Earth realm has an invisible axis of concentric circles where the spirits get jumped back into a new body form, which is this idea of cycling incarnations upon the quote-unquote timeline reality realm, with the basis of the world, which for your understanding and your current awareness is Earth. So, and it doesn't matter if Earth has certain timelines, or if Bush won or whatever. I mean, it's very similar. Actually, it's pretty similar. So,
in other words,
I mean, but that might be another topic later, because I haven't discussed Robert Monroe in a while, especially did I ever do the soul contract breakdown? The contract you signed or you agreed to before you came in here? I'm trying to think. Oh, wait, no, I didn't. You know what? I didn't do that. That's weird. Whatever, maybe I'll do that later. Be aware, there's a contract that you agreed to. You literally had to say, I agree to enter this clown show, the Disney realm, the greatest show in the universe, Earth. It's like in South Park TV, with the episode called Cancelled.
Right. In other words, it's a common theme in my writing that a dark-haired girl shows up at the door of the protagonist and tells him that his world is delusional, that there's something false about it.
You gotta be careful with this. Like, this is why I'm afraid of women. Like, you gotta understand from my point of view. I'm a highly social guy. I like to drink. I'm a chill personality. I'm friendly with everybody. I'm a goofy guy. Everyone invites me to parties or whatever. I'm really social. I'm a dude bro. I'm naturally in good shape. I used to work out a lot. I used to be jacked. 100 push-ups chest to ground with push-up bars. I could do 50 chin-ups, the ones where you use your back, or some people call pull-ups, easy with the legs flat out in a 90-degree angle. I was so strong at one point I ripped the railings off my house, from my old house. And I'm a good-looking guy, but I know that someone like me, in my awareness, women are dangerous because of this situation. This is the introduction of Sophia to the formula. But if you're on the opposite side, where you're a woman, it's the Sophia's introduction to being abused by men until she finds a quote-unquote archetypical Jesus to redeem her. This is the story of Sophia, and then this is the story of your archetypical hero structure script line to find your unicorn. All right, I mean, this goes both ways for both genders. All right, but you have to understand, from my point of view, I actually do care about helping people, and I don't care if you're a girl or a guy. Like that's why I'm willing to teach women too. But I mean, this is a natural part of the game. So if it's for male, you're supposed to redeem Sophia, or she comes to you to assist you. Or if you're a girl, you're going to be abused by men until you re-prep yourself up and clean your act up and stop being abused by men to find that white knight in shining armor. I mean, this is a goddamn storyline role. All right, if you're a guy, save the princess. If you're a girl, my white knight in shining armor. All right, like maybe I'll make a video later teaching the guys on my channel how to simp in white knight and go thirsty.
Now, in Man in the High Castle, the situation is ironically reversed. The girl that comes to the door tells an author that his book of fiction is true. For several years, I have had the feeling, a growing feeling, that one day a woman who would be a complete stranger to me would contact me and tell me that she had some information to impart to me. And then she would appear at my door, just as Juliana appeared at Hawthorne Aubison's door. And that forthwith, in the gravest possible way, she would tell me exactly what Juliana told Abinson.
Yeah, this is a real thing. So, I mean, this is what we call script-based reality, part of the hero's journey. It's mentioned about Joseph Campbell, which is why I recommended the book Hero with 1,000 Faces. You could also go through The Psychology of the Unconscious by Carl Jung. This is a real thing. I mean, this is why, you know, I don't want to meet, you know, people that I meet on my channel in real life, just because then certain dialogue boxes, action boxes in the video game gets opened up, right? And where I'm at, like I'm already at like the finish line, but then I would just like, even now, like you gotta understand, for me, like I take great risk of my spiritual journey by helping people elevate themselves. Like I don't have to do this, or make a YouTube channel, make videos. I just do it because at this point, I'm just chilling out until the goddamn, was it the winter solstice when the Matrix 4 comes out.
And that is that my book, like his, was in a certain...
But you know, I'm not against destiny. Like look, I mean, I follow the rules, all right? Like I understand this idea of a dark-haired woman coming to you. I mean, it's whatever. I mean, if a dark-haired woman comes up to me and it's part of destiny, then I have to accept it for what it is. And that's the rule of destiny.
Real, literal, and physical sense, not fiction, but the truth.
Exactement le contraire.
Well, this did finally happen to me. I even knew that her hair would be black. I had an actual complete sense of what she would look like and what she would say.
C'est donc ce qui m'est arrivé récemment. Je parle d'une femme qui a lu soigneusement tous les...
My door, and I'm speaking of a woman who had systematically read every single novel of mine, which is more than 30 novels.
Well, that's just like me. I know people who have watched every single one of my videos like 3 times, so...
As well as many of my stories. She did appear, she was a total stranger, and she did inform me of this fact, that some of my fictional works were in a literal sense true.
Elle est venue, elle était étrangère.
Skip down to there. Now, I had posited in 1974, when my memories of this alternate world came back, that if these memories were authentic, that it was only a matter of time before a contact, a cautious, guarded probing by someone would occur, initiated by a person who had read my books and for one reason or another deduced the actual situation.
Yeah, this is what we call fate or destiny, serendipity. I mean, for me, it happened to me via TN. Remember, you guys remember me in the beginning? I was trolling on live chats, like dropping that I knew secret information, and TN could smell me a mile away like a bloodhound. And then in the beginning of my channel, he asked me a bunch of questions, sent me some emails, so I made videos to answer him to elevate his consciousness awareness so he could spiritually level up and move on. I mean, for me, that's why TN is very important to me as a wizard's apprentice, so I could help him move on. I mean, this will happen. So, like, someone sniffed me out and knew what I was like, that was TN, because TN was already high level, and he was an Easterner that recognized me for what I was in the beginning. So,
I mean, knew what the significant information was which the books and stories carried. Now, this woman knew from my novels and stories which world I had experienced, which of the many. What she could not determine until I told her was that in February of 1975, I had passed across into a third alternative present. Third one.
oh, this is sweet. This is where he talks about him going to the Buddha realms, the nirvana. Like, this is a state of mind, and you can access it now. So,
Tract C, we will call it. And this was a garden or park of peace and beauty, a world superior to ours.
Yeah, I've talked about this before. It's like the garden paradise. All the colors are more vibrant. Everything is lush. If you're talking about color hueness, it feels very jewel-like. Sapphire, waters, clear skies, perfect serenity. What do you think of the beauty of the natural world without the ugliness of the demiurge, the devil's interference? Everything sounds better, feels better. The light has a golden hue. It's prismatic rainbow everywhere. It's really weird. The rainbow is why it's so obvious to me, like prismatic rainbow.
Rising into existence.
And the skies are brilliant, like the stars.
To her of three rather than two worlds. The black iron prison world, which had been.
Yeah, there's three worlds. There's the world of the, this is what we call the masculine world. This is the devil's world. And we have the feminine world, the love world, like Vanessa VA stuff. It's in that graph I showed you. And then you have the middle world, the third track, the third path. That is the exit out of Disney realm. So this is what he saw, the Buddha realms.
Our intermediate world, in which oppression and war exist but have to a great degree been cast down, and then a third alternative world. Yeah, so oppression, control, war, that's the masculine world. The love world, but it's not as civilized, that's the feminine world. And then when you have the true world of God, a transcendent God, of the Buddha realms, escaping the wheel of Dharma, you will see this world. This is like the rainbow Buddha realms. Which someday... This is the exit out of Disney realm. Disney realm is merely a fake carbon copy, a simulacra of the real reality of the universe. I hope you guys understand that. When the correct variables in our... It's literally designed to extract your loosh for, the devil. Past and reprogram will materialize... But it's there to perfect your spirit's journey if you can make it out of the video game. So as a super imposition on... This is Robert Monroe. This is where he calls it a last timer, but he couldn't figure out how to be a last timer, which is why personally I didn't find his book Ultimate Journeys true, just because I knew at Far Journeys that he got kicked out of the... First of all, he got kicked out of the Buddha realms and journeys out of the body, and then he met the last timers, and he couldn't figure out how to get to the state of mind that they had. All right, that's why Robert Monroe is very important to me. He's basically reconfirming the Tibetan Book of the Dead for me. This one, and within which, as we awaken to it, we shall suppose that we have always lived there. The memory of... Yeah, I mean, we're basically the fallen angels. We came from that world. We got the touch from the angels of oblivion to forget our true transcendent nature, our true aspect connection to a quote-unquote transcendent God. We agreed to come in here
on the condition that we're here for a very specific laser focus experience, to play a game. We are in Jigsaw's game. Do you want to play a game? I mean, that's why the movie Mr. Nobody is great at illustrating this. Like, if you watch the movie Mr. Nobody, it's great. It even illustrates the fact that you're in a game when they had the scene with the car and he fell off the bridge and it said game over with Jared Leto. I mean, that's why that movie is very good. So
this intermediate one, like that of the Black Iron prison world, eradicated mercifully from our memories.
Yeah, he basically left. Imagine like you're in Disney World, right, and you're stuck there at the teacups, and you get to walk out of the park for like 10 minutes for a smoke break, and then he's not at the. Then he's out of the Iron Gate prison, but then he walked back into Disney Realm because he still has the Disney Realm wristband on his thing, and he has to finish out the amusement park. So.
The best that I can really do at this point, after having had these experiences and written these novels, is to play the role of prophet, of ancient prophets and such oracles as the Sibyl at Delphi.
Yeah, even what I'm doing, it's playing the role of prophet, but prophet's a loaded word because it's connotations or connections to religious terms. I mean, really, he's someone who's seen the lateral worlds, other possibilities, the masculine hell worlds, the feminine hell worlds, and he's seen the Buddha realms outside of Disney realm. I mean, even for me, that's all that I'm doing. You could call me a prophet. I mean, it doesn't really matter to me. I'm just a dude on YouTube talking shit or making memes of Matt. I mean, it's whatever. It is what it is. So there's nothing really more to say about that. And I'm just saying that his experience is like my experience. That's why I'm aware of these things. The only difference for us is the timelines that we're on, because I'm in a different timeline where access to information is different, but I'm in a much darker timeline.
And to talk of a wonderful garden world, much like that which once our ancestors are said to have inhabited. In fact, I sometimes imagine it to be exactly that same world restored, as if a false trajectory of our world will eventually be fully corrected, and once more we will be where once many thousands of years ago we lived and were happy.
Yeah, so he's talking about the projection of the world of the overlay, where he talks about the removal of the Black Iron prison, the influence of the Roman Empire, which to him is the reestablishment of the egregore that introduced time into the equation, which allowed for the war to struck the path. I mean, for me, this is a pipe dream, just because I know that the creation of humans, whatever, came from the gods that were running away from another reality, and that's why our mortal aspect of the earthly form is flawed because of our originations. It's part of the game. This natural cycling filtration process is part of the game, so it's there to help us be aware of the limitations or hyper crack reality of our current form, and to say, okay, that's good, I'm good, Disney realm isn't that great, it was okay, it was just okay, thank you Mickey, bye. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do. I mean, I'm pretty much there, but some people here, you just need to clear out your neuroses. Some of you have, ties that bind you to Disney realm. You just got to clear that up. That's why I do personal requests or private requests. It's not that big of a deal. It really is what I said from the beginning. Like, I'm standing at the gate of Disney realm, arguing with Mickey, with my balloons, stuffed animals, and t-shirts, like all these souvenirs, and Mickey's trying to pimp out princesses to me or offer me coupon tickets or fast passes or lightning passes, and begging me to stay in the game. And then you guys walk by me and you're like, why is this guy arguing with Mickey, and how did he get all these cool presents? All right, I mean, our situation is so stupid. I mean, that's why I try to illustrate it in a stupid way. If I talked about it in a serious way, like a new ager, then what is the point?
During the brief time I walked about in that garden world, I had the strong impression that it was our legitimate home, which somehow we had lost.
Yep, that is the legitimate home. So if you read Journeys Out of the Body by Robert Monroe, he was here too. It was like Jewel Like Paradise's rainbows. He tried to recreate it in a pool in the living world. he was so upset that he got kicked out of the Buddha realms. In the third book, he was trying to cope with why he got kicked out. It's because his soul is corrupted. Basically because he's a freak that just likes cheating on his wife in astral form too much, whatever, and tried to say I love my wife in the end, when he was saying that, oh, having sex with an astral female entity is just it's like a handshake to these people. Like, this guy's an idiot, getting his loose left and right and being touched by spirits in the game of Dharma itself. He's a perfect example of someone who took the bribe. So
the time I spent there was short, about 6 hours of real elapsed time, but I remember it well. In the novel I wrote with Rogers Zelazny, Deus Irae, I describe it toward the end, at the point where the curse is lifted from the world by the death. What's amazing to me about this park-like world, this track C, was the non-Christian elements forming the basis of it.
Yeah, I mean, this is even reflected in Robert Monroe. When Robert Monroe went to the astral realms, and even the other realms of Buddha realms, he literally said that, I don't get it. When I got attacked by these reality police people, I invoke the names of the angels, the saints, whatever. My wife is Catholic, so how come none of my Christian upbringing of Protestantism or my wife's Catholic prayers or invocations of the saints or angels worked? It's because the real astral realm creations, I mean, it's closer to Buddhism, or the Tibetans did a good job illustrating it, or the ancient cultures of Atlantis, Lemuria depicted it in the right manner. So even Philip K. Dick recognizes that it's not the classical Christian idea of heaven. It's really the paradisical form of Atlantean heaven, Lemurian heaven, or whatever.
It was not what my Christian training had prepared me for at all. Even when it began to phase out, I still saw sky, I saw land and dark blue smooth water, and standing by the edge of the water, a beautiful nude woman whom I recognized as Aphrodite.
Well, beautiful nude woman. Okay, and as for this whole, I mean, Tian's been here too. It's like sky temples. If we talk about someone who's been there, there's a story of the what was the guy, the Viking guy? He went through the North Pole and walked into the paradisical lands of the Buddha realms, where there's giants and golden statues and like a heavenly realm. I mean, this guy literally walked into the quote-unquote Buddha realms in the physical form. I mean, that's another story too.
At that point,
and as for him getting approached by Aphrodite, this is him in the astral, non-physical form, magical etheric body form, in the quote-unquote true heaven, or outside of the prison realm that he's in, and he's being approached by Aphrodite, which is it's basically Sophia. I mean, come on, this is goddamn obvious. It's Sophia.
Other
right?
better world had diminished to a mere landscape beyond.
This is why when I know one of you's been seeing a woman approach you in your dreams or astral form, asking for your name or stuff. Could be an entity or Sophia. Like, if you do not read the goddamn book Jesus and the Lost Goddess, right? That'll explain it far better than what I could say, just because I don't want to spend hours talking about Sophia.
Golden rectangle.
Right, to me, she's just the gate. She's basically look, we're in a Rick and Morty arcade, right? I got my soul tokens, I got my loose tickets, and I'm ready to cash out at the ticket redemption office with Sophia to walk out of the arcade. Right, and the arcade's being run by Mickey.
Doorway. The outline of the doorway.
Like, I'm getting out of the arcade with all the prizes.
It pulsed with laser-like light, and it all grew smaller, and was at last gone from sight. The 3.3 to 5 doorway, devouring itself into nothingness, sealing off what lay beyond.
And the 3.3 to 5 doorway, and this is in reference to the monolith also.
I have not seen,
but he's talking about the golden monolith,
it since, but
which is the door gateway to the Buddha realms.
The firm impression that this was the next world, not of the Christians, but the Arcady of the Greco-Roman world.
Oh yeah, so yeah, that's right. So the Arcady of the Greco-Roman world, of the Elysian fields, or the paradisical field. I mean, honestly, this goes back to even older retellings, whether it be the Norse ideas, but not Valhalla. This is in Valhalla, that's the Aesir gods, which would be the Anunnaki, but he's talking about the Vanir gods, the gods of the earth. This would be like Freya, Freyr. This is the true, outside of Disney realm. So, I mean, this is you using the earth, this realm, as a womb of Sophia to birth you into the next life, or to go back outside of the gates of Disney realm. So that's what he's seeing, whether it be Elysian Fields, the Vinea Paradises from Norse mythology. It goes back to even other older cultures, like the Atlanteans is where they bury themselves in mounds, because the mounds, they shape like a pregnant woman, and they bury their bodies in the fetal position like a baby to be birthed into this realm, which is the original place, if they want to only spend one round.
Something older and more beautiful than that which my own religion can conjure up as a lure to keep us in.
Yeah, but he picks the Greco-Roman, the Greek idea, just because for the Greeks, it's all about the pinnacle apotheosis, reaching the Maximus arc. So, I mean, that's why he picks it for this reason. That's why, for me personally, I venerate the Greeks. So, like, everybody knows that. That's why I use the word pinnacle apotheosis, like the Greek idea of perfection or beauty or philosophy. But then again, Plato just isn't that good, so I'm not sure.
A state of dutiful morality and faith. What I saw was very old and very lovely. Sky, sea, land, and a beautiful woman, and then nothing, for the door had shut, and I was closed off back here.
Yeah, you got a preview.
It was with a bitter sense of loss that I saw her go, really, since it all constellated about her. Aphrodite.
Yeah, I mean, he's referencing Sophia. Like, Sophia was trying to send him a message.
I discovered when I...
Alright, so we gotta finish up that. Okay, that is that part. So I did have to recut out a different source just for him to talk about Aphrodite or Sophia, or this idea of the original feminine axis, the mother archetypes. Like, there's the father, mother, son. There's God, Sophia, and then the devil, the demiurge.
I looked at my Britannica to see what I could learn about her. It was not only the goddess of erotic love and aesthetic beauty, but also...
It's probably, yeah, this is where he talks about she's the god of rejuvenation, which was why the vernal equinox is important.
The embodiment of the generative force of life itself. Nor was she originally Greek. In the beginning, she had been a Semitic deity, later taken over by the Greeks, who knew a good thing when they saw her. During those treasured hours, what I saw in her was the loveliness that our own religion, Christianity, at least by comparison, lacks.
Yeah, see, he's talking about how in Christianity in modern form, they basically abandoned the idea of the divinity of the woman, which is why they basically removed the importance of Sophia from Christianity itself. I mean, that's why there's talkings about Mary Magdalene these days, or the idea of the whore of Babylon, or she becomes or redeemed as the virginal seminal beauty of Sophia. I mean, this is why, I mean, in reality, the reason why the church did this is to remove the feminine axis, the beauty of Christianity away from it, to create the order structure that it needs to build out its megalithic churches, or take money from people, or control people. I mean, I find that, original, Gnostic Christianity, it's beautiful. If you understand it back to its basic roots, and understand about Jesus Christ as the allegory to represent the way to win beyond, like in Buddhism, it'd be the same thing. It'd be like the wheel of suffering. Or in the old Christian forms, the Gnostic would be the wheel of necessity. To, win the game, clear out your neuroses, realize this place for what it is. A great test of the spirit. I mean, but that's why modern Christianity, it's been remodified, turned to literal Christianity, taking its allegories away. No one really knows what they're talking about. Older books that are important, like obviously, the Book of Enoch is important. The Book of Adam and Eve, these apocryphal books are very important to Christianity, but it's been removed and redacted. Like even Ethiopian Christianity, or even the African Christianities, the ones before the Council of Nicaea, I mean, they still... Like a good example is rainbow tomato. In your sect of Christianity, because you believe in an original form or an older form, it still references reincarnation, which is like it was removed post Origin of Alexander. So I mean that's why there's the return of Jesus Christ, or the 3 days thing, and it also has direct correlations to the natural cycling systems of your the sun and stuff. I mean, it's all things at once. It's a person that exists in physical form. This savior figure that keeps getting reborn, whether it's Jesus, Moses, Thoth, Quetzalcoatl, Baal. I mean, whatever. It's also in correlation and relationship to the natural movement of the sun in our current video game system. And it's also an allegory which you're supposed to apply for yourself to win the video game. The system has to tell you how to win. It doesn't matter what religion they're telling you. This is why for the Easterners, this is why they fractured the religion. For the Easterners, they use it in, Buddha, which is the mercurial idea. They fracture into 7 forms. What is it? Christianity, it's really Jupiterian ideas. You take it through the versionings of the Roman Catholic system, that would be the Martian idea. That's why it's all about action. You could also take it into, the Arabic system. That would be using Venus, right? That's why their map, their symbol is like that. It's the star and the moon. That's representing Venus. For the Jews, it's Saturn, right? It's a fractionalization of all forms of astral ideas broken apart. So when you reform, religion through all religions of the world and get a clearer picture, then you can understand the game for what it is. So, but for me, it's really almost impossible to get to this state of mind, just because you have to be very open-minded and study everything. Like I'm talking about Carl Jung, Joseph Campbell, all religions. Who has the time for this? So,
an incredible symmetry.
And then you literally have to connect them back to original Atlantean thought.
Almost harmony was Heraclitus wrote of. The perfect tension and balance of forces within the strung lyre, which is bowled by its stretched strings, which appears perfectly at rest, perfectly at peace. Yet, the strung lyre is a balanced unity, immobile only because the tensions within it are in absolute proportion. This is the quality of the Greek formulation of beauty.
It's talking about the Greek formulation of beauties of balancing. This is like the balancing of the scales.
Perfection that is dynamic within, yet at apparent rest without. Against this Palantonos harmony, the universe plays out in other instances.
He's basically talking about how basically the transcendent form of God is using for other aspects of itself through lateralization of realities to basically perfect the beauty, the harmony of existence, whether it uses a hell realm to create, the light, or uses the light to create the darkness. So this actually goes back to like Zoroastrian thought of religions about the light and the darkness of duality. It's part of the game so that you can recognize both the light and the dark and transcend out of the system. This is classic. This is like classical older ideas.
The Grecian lyre. The Palantrobos harmony, which is the back and forth oscillation of the strings as they are played.
He's talking about the oscillations. That's why he always uses the word Chinese finger trap. I've used that word too, Chinese finger trap. This is like oscillations of the sine waves. If you understand, the sine waves on the chart, then you can understand reality. Everything's a vibration. Everything's like lights and colors or vibrations, really. Like this idea of feeling good vibes or negative vibes or discordia.
I see her like this. Perhaps this continual oscillation back and forth is the deeper, greater rhythm of the universe. Things coming in.
Yeah, so he's feeling the rhythm of the universe, the harmonic of the 432 hertz resonance, or feeling good vibes. So he's talking about vibrations within the universal system.
Existence and then passing away, change rather than a static durability. And for a little while, I had seen perfect peace, perfect.
Yeah, he's seeing perfect peace, perfect serenity, stillness. All right, this is like Katy Perry at the end of Chained to the Rhythm. All right, stop running on a hamster wheel. Serenity of the mind, the clear, unbroken water.
Rest, a past we have lost, but a past returning to us as if by means of a long-term oscillation.
He's talking about the recollection of the oscillations of all aspects of you. Like, remember that video I showed you of Rick and Morty, where Rick reassembles all versions of himself, and he corrects, and he's in sync with all lateral versions of himself to reach the oneness of his true identity? Same thing.
To be available as our future, in which all lost things shall.
Yeah, the awareness of the future. So he's talking about the restoration of all versioning spirits, timelines, the refixing of your reality bubble, synchronicity of different versions of you, consistency through the will to power, purification of the spirit, actualization of the spirit to liberate the spirit into the stillness, serenity of the Buddha realms. So, okay, and everyone gave him a clapping, standing ovation because in the beginning they were kind of cackling and laughing. Then when it got towards the end, they realized that he wasn't full of shit. So, all right, so that was Philip K. Dick. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. But I don't know when I'll be back. I have a bunch of personal requests or private requests to do, so I'm trying to think. When is the next time I'll be back? If I can, I'll do April Fools for the lulz. Like, I probably... What is that? Maybe I'll do a meme show, but if not, I'll be back around... I'll still do a Saturday show, but god damn it, I've been canceling my Wednesday variety show. I haven't done Wednesday variety show since the Reality Junkie ones, which is very good from Legion. Alright, so I'll see you guys either this Saturday or next Saturday. But I'm not going to come back until I get a bunch of my personal request to-do lists done. Just because people have been waiting a while for me to process their personal requests. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed Philip K. Dick. I gotta watch more of his movies. Like the Adjustment Bureau and a Darkly Scanner. So I hope this was helpful, but from my point of view, I actually don't like talking this way just because I think it's too far out there. All right. But you guys have a good night, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye.